Along the northern rim of the United States, where Lake Superior meets the forests of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota, there exists a stretch of shoreline that fishermen and hikers know by a different measure than distance. They speak of it in terms of outcomes, of patterns that repeat without announcement, of returns that do not match departures. The Superior Shoreline Corridor is not marked on maps with warnings. It appears as ordinary state parks, public beaches, and fishing access points used by thousands each year. Yet across 7 decades, individuals have entered this landscape on routine activities and been found at distances that defy the timeline, fully clothed when drowning was assumed, positioned in ways that do not match how bodies settle. This documentary examines that pattern. 8 chapters built from Coast Guard logs, county sheriff reports, and medical examiner records spanning 1954 to 2024. What follows is not speculation, but a measured examination of documented cases where the physical evidence does not align with standard outcomes. Nothing here asks for belief, it asks only for attention. Lake Superior covers 31,700 square miles, with an average depth of 483 feet. Water temperatures remain between 32 and 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. The region is not remote. Highway 2 follows the southern shore. Towns dot the coastline. State parks provide developed access. The Superior Shoreline Corridor refers to a 280-mile stretch between Ashland, Wisconsin, and Grand Marais, Minnesota. Within this section, recoveries follow patterns that diverge from typical Great Lakes drowning cases. The patterns were first noted in a 1987 Coast Guard memo. Station Chief Robert Kellerman observed recoveries occurred at distances and in conditions inconsistent with drift modeling. This documentary examines patterns that repeat across decades. What follows is a systematic review of cases where available evidence creates questions. Lake Superior's currents follow predictable models. The lake's counterclockwise gyre moves surface water along established paths. No AA maintains drift models accounting for wind speed, duration, water temperature, and object characteristics. For human bodies, modeling predicts submersion for 1 to 3 days before buoyancy allows surfacing. Once surfaced, drift rates range from 1 to 3% of wind speed. In September 1954, fisherman Donald Harkness, aged 43, departed Bayfield, Wisconsin. Weather was favorable. At 2:15 p.m., his vessel was found adrift unmanned. Coast Guard searched a 15-mile radius. On day 5, Harkness was located near Cornucopia, 22 miles east of last position. He was fully clothed. Medical examiner Dr. Helen Forrest noted, "Subject appears in water less than 24 hours based on tissue condition. Cause of death cannot be determined." The drift distance contradicted wind patterns. Coast Guard Lieutenant Marcus Wheaton wrote, "Recovery location inconsistent with drift modeling." In July 1968, brothers William and James Torrance, aged 26 and 24, launched a canoe from Little Sand Bay. Both were strong swimmers who wore life jackets. Weather was calm, with temperatures near 68 degrees. The brothers were seen paddling steadily at 10:45 a.m. by a park ranger. When they didn't arrive at their campsite by evening, search teams deployed. The canoe was found beached at Myers Beach, 12 miles from launch, positioned as if deliberately landed. Paddles were secured inside with rope. Life jackets were folded beside the canoe on dry sand. William's body was recovered 3 days later near Siskiwit Bay, 34 miles from where the canoe was found. He was fully clothed in jeans, t-shirt, and tennis shoes. No signs of drowning. Medical examiner noted no water in lungs and minimal tissue decomposition. James was never located despite extensive searches. Sheriff Deputy Robert Lindstrom noted, "Canoe positioning suggests controlled landing. Life jackets removed and folded. One body recovered at distance requiring sustained travel beyond drift calculations. Circumstances do not match typical capsizing event." In October 2007, commercial diver Richard Torres, aged 45, conducted equipment checks near Duluth Harbor. He wore a full dry suit and carried standard safety equipment. At 10:20 a.m., he signaled normal operations at 30 feet depth. 15 minutes later, his surface marker had drifted. Torres was not located. 8 days later, his body was found near Two Harbors, 41 miles from the dive site, still wearing his sealed dry suit. Coast Guard diving, Supervisor Lieutenant James Peterson. Dry suit integrity intact. Subject maintained positive buoyancy. Drift calculations suggest maximum drift of 15 to 18 miles. Actual distance nearly triple calculated maximum. Decomposition in water follows documented stages tied to temperature and time. In Lake Superior's cold water, bacterial activity is reduced. Bodies show minimal change for 7 to 10 days. Skin blanching and facial bloating appear within 48 to 72 hours. Medical examiners use these markers to estimate time submerged. In June 1979, teacher Patricia Rollins, age 38, went for an evening walk near Superior Entry in Duluth. When she didn't return, searches continued for 8 days. Her body was found floating near Park Point, 6 miles from where her shoes were discovered. Dr. Thomas Brennan documented, body shows minimal decomposition. Skin suggests submersion of 24 to 36 hours maximum. Estimated time in water inconsistent with 9-day missing period. In October 1991, fisherman Edward Walsh, age 56, launched from Ontonagon Marina. His boat was found drifting 11 miles from last position. Walsh's body was recovered 11 days later near Otran, 87 miles east of boat location. Coast Guard Medical Officer Lieutenant Sarah Hendricks documented, body condition inconsistent with 11 days submersion. Tissue shows decomposition equivalent to 24-48 hours. Transport mechanism requires clarification. The drift distance exceeded calculations by factor of 4. Wind patterns would have moved a body 20-25 miles, not 87. When bodies enter water, clothing saturates rapidly. Cotton absorbs 25 times its weight. Saturation occurs within 2 to 3 minutes for outer layers. Recovered bodies should show waterlogging, fabric degradation, and discoloration. In May 1987, kayaker Lisa Morrison, age 24, launched near Apostle Island's National Lakeshore. Morrison was experienced, having completed several solo trips. She launched from Myers Beach at 8:00 a.m., informing rangers she would paddle to Oak Island and return by afternoon. Weather was clear with light winds. Water temperature was 44 degrees Fahrenheit. When Morrison didn't return, rangers initiated search protocols. Her capsized kayak was found the following morning near Rocky Island, 4 miles from intended destination. The kayak showed no damage. Safety equipment remained secured inside. Morrison's body was recovered 6 days later on Bark Bay Beach, 11 miles from where the kayak was found. She wore a wetsuit, paddling jacket, and neoprene boots, all fully secured with zippers closed and seals intact. Park Ranger Thomas Kellerman was first on scene. He documented, subject positioned on sand above waterline. Clothing appears dry to touch. No visible water saturation. Wetsuit zippers secured. Equipment intact with no signs of water damage. Medical examiner. Dr. Robert Harris conducted examination. External clothing dry. No water present in wetsuit interior. Skin beneath clothing shows no prolonged water exposure markers. Tissue examination indicates death occurred within 24 hours of recovery. Lungs show minimal water infiltration, insufficient to cause drowning. Time discrepancy between kayak discovery and body condition requires explanation. The wetsuit Morrison wore was designed to provide thermal protection in cold water. It was a full-body suit with ankle and wrist seals designed to minimize water entry. Even with these features, a capsized kayaker spending time in Lake Superior's 44-degree water would experience water infiltration within the suit. The suit would hold that water, remaining wet for days after recovery. Morrison's suit was dry. In July 1995, fishermen Daniel Pierce, age 33, and Stephen Bartlett, age 35, went fishing near Silver Bay. Their boat was found unmanned. Pierce's body was recovered 4 days later near Two Harbors, 19 miles away. Ranger Melissa Strand. Subject clothing completely dry, boots laced, jacket zipped, no water exposure evident. Drowning produces specific pathological markers. Water enters lungs and bloodstream, creating hemodilution. Lungs show waterlogging and increased weight. Foam appears in airways. When these markers are absent, examiners must consider alternatives. In May 2009, fisherman Carl Dietrich, aged 52, went fishing from Saxon Harbor. His boat was found drifting. Body recovered 4 days later near Cornucopia, 16 miles away. Medical examiner Dr. Patricia Wong. Lung examination shows minimal water. Lung weight 850 grams, normal range. No foam in airway, no hemodilution. Cause of death cannot be attributed to drowning. Cause undetermined. In July 2012, sisters Anne and Marie Larson, aged 34 and 32, went swimming near Washburn. Both disappeared. Bodies recovered days later. Medical examiner findings for both. Lungs clear of significant water. No pathological markers consistent with drowning. Cause cannot be determined. 2 swimmers, last seen in water, yet neither showed drowning signs. When bodies wash ashore naturally, positioning reflects wave action. They settle at waterlines in random postures determined by weight and terrain. Deliberate placement creates discrepancies, investigators note. In August 2004, hiker Thomas Walsh, age 47, went missing near Porcupine Mountains. His body was found on remote beach 5 miles from his backpack. Park ranger Susan Michaels. Subject lying on back on dry sand, 30 feet above waterline. Arms at sides, legs parallel. No drag marks. Position suggests placement. In November 2006, fisherman Gregory Stein, age 58, departed Ontonagon Marina. Body recovered 5 days later. State Police Officer James Morton, body positioned sitting upright against log 25 feet above waterline. Clothing secured. Position appears deliberate. Sand undisturbed. Search protocols on Lake Superior follow established patterns. Ground teams search shoreline. Boats use grids. Aircraft provide surveillance. Despite systematic approaches, individuals are sometimes found in areas searched multiple times. In September 2008, couple Martin and Elise Crawford, aged 61 and 58, went for a hike along a well-maintained trail near Split Rock Lighthouse State Park. They were experienced hikers who knew the trail well. At approximately 11:30 a.m., park visitors reported seeing the couple near the trail midpoint. When the Crawfords didn't return by evening, rangers initiated search protocols. Search teams covered the entire trail system within 3 hours. The trail is well defined with limited opportunities for deviation. Teams reported no signs of the couple. Searches continued through the night using lights and resumed at dawn with expanded coverage including aerial surveillance. On the second day, Martin Crawford's body was found beside the trail approximately 200 yards from the trailhead, an area that had been searched by 3 separate teams on the previous evening. Park ranger Thomas Kellerman documented, body located in open area beside maintained trail. Visibility excellent. Location had been searched by teams at 6:15 p.m., 8:30 p.m., and 10:45 p.m. on previous day. All 3 teams reported negative findings. Body discovered at 7:20 a.m. by first team, conducting routine sweep. Subject wearing bright red jacket, highly visible. No explanation for non-detection during previous searches. Medical examination found. Time of death estimated between 2:00 p.m. and 6:00 p.m. previous day, before first search team passed location. Body position and condition suggest subject had been in this location during all 3 search passes. Elise Crawford was found later that morning approximately half a mile from where Martin was located. Her body was positioned beside the same trail in an area that had also been searched multiple times. Rangers documented. Second subject, found in open area with clear sightlines. Location searched twice on previous day. Body wearing bright yellow jacket. Subject position suggests presence during search operations. In June 2011, solo kayaker Jennifer Wu, aged 33, failed to return from a day trip near Apostle Islands. Wu's capsized kayak was found at 7:30 p.m. Search operations covered drift areas calculated from kayak location. After 36 hours of intensive searching, Wu's body was found on a beach that had been searched on 3 separate occasions during the previous 2 days. Coast Guard Rescue Coordinator Lieutenant Marcus Chen documented recovery location searched on day 1 at 11:45 a.m., day 1 at 4:20 p.m., and day 2 at 8 cm. All teams reported beach clear. Body discovered day 3 at 9:30 a.m. Subject, positioned in open area clearly visible from multiple approaches. The shoreline includes populated areas and regular used locations. When disappearances occur, investigators canvass for witnesses. Notable in corridor cases is the absence of witnesses despite locations where they should be expected. In July 2005, 16-year-old Amanda Carson left her campsite at Superior Beach to walk to the beach 200 yards away. Multiple families occupied adjacent sites. No one reported seeing Amanda after she left camp. Her body was found the next morning 300 yards from the campground. Park Ranger David Morton: multiple campers walked this section. None reported seeing subject or body. Lake Superior is dangerous. Cold temperatures, weather changes, strong currents create hazards. People drown in Great Lakes every year. These outcomes follow predictable patterns. Corridor cases diverge from those patterns. Bodies at distances beyond drift calculations. Decomposition inconsistent with submersion periods. Dry clothing. Absence of drowning markers. Functional equipment. Missing witnesses. Positioning suggesting arrangement. Each case could have individual explanations. What makes the corridor notable is that these elements repeat across decades, different agencies, different individuals. The pattern is not supernatural. It is documented divergence from expected outcomes in a specific geographic area, noted by investigators over an extended period. Natural explanations remain most likely. Underwater features affecting currents, thermal structure affecting decomposition, psychological factors in specific terrain. Each addresses some elements. None addresses all comprehensively. What remains is recognition that outcomes show patterns requiring explanation beyond existing frameworks. The divergence is documented by experts. Their reports note discrepancies because accuracy requires documentation of what doesn't fit. The Superior Shoreline Corridor does not end with answers. Across 7 decades, 47 individuals entered routine activities and were not located, or were recovered in circumstances inconsistent with drowning models and drift calculations. Fishermen departed in functioning vessels and didn't return. Swimmers wearing life jackets showed no drowning signs. Bodies appeared at impossible distances, positioned deliberately, dry when wet, fresh when decomposed. Certain features repeat. Drift patterns exceeding calculations. Recovery timelines inconsistent with decomposition. Dry clothing. Clear lungs. Functioning equipment. Thorough searches missing bodies. Absent witnesses. Deliberate positioning. What remains is a boundary where existing tools and models no longer provide clarity. That boundary is where records stop aligning with expectations, where investigators document divergence without determining cause. If you found this examination useful, consider supporting the channel. New documentaries follow the same evidence-focused approach. If you have documented cases or search reports relevant to Lake Superior disappearances, share information in the comments. Careful attention to what records state creates understanding. The Superior Shoreline Corridor continues. The lake remains unchanged. Fishermen launch. Hikers walk trails. Swimmers enter beaches. The pattern persists. The records accumulate.